everybody, this is the Vision. So exactly who wanted a new version of Roadhouse in 2024? Well, apparently Doug Liman wanted to do that, so he decided to have a very jacked up Jake Gyllenhaal take over the iconic role from Patrick Swayze, and they almost had it. This is one of these movies that is very, very close to actually doing what it's supposed to do, but they stumbled a little bit. There were a bit too many minus ones for this one to really work. But it's not a bad movie. It's a good movie. I like it. And specific things from it is fantastic. But let's find out more, shall we? And let's find out if you think that you are going to like this update of Roadhouse. This is the 2024 version of Roadhouse. So ex-UFC fighter Dalton is contacted by a woman from Florida who wants him to help her protect her roadhouse in the Florida Keys called Roadhouse. So he goes there and sees that it's a nice place, but it's always threatened by, you know, these assholes and gang members and what have you that is causing all sorts of ruckus. And he beats the ever-loving shit out of them and sends them to the hospital. But after a while, he finds out that he has apparently stepped on the wrong people's toes. And the thing that started with just a barroom brawl now has escalated severely. Is he going to be able to protect the Roadhouse? Is he going to be able to protect his employees and the staff from the threat that is coming? Let's find out more, shall we, in this version of Roadhouse. Now, the original Roadhouse movie is a beloved cult classic, which I think is a tiny bit overrated, but it's a very, very enjoyable movie, which is a delightfully cheesy late 80s action movie. And I think that having Jake Gyllenhaal as Dalton is an almost perfect thing, because he's a very good actor and he can play different types of roles, and he's weirdly smiling but also catatonic and slightly suicidal and depressing and brooding Dalton. It's not as fun as the wholesome but yet incredibly goofily entertaining Patrick Swayze from the original. Also, the original had Terry Funk. This movie has not Terry Funk, and that is a big -1. I don't care if Terry Funk is dead or not, but what this movie has instead of Terry Funk is Conor McGregor. I have never actually seen Conor McGregor in anything. I know about him, I know his name, but he's a treat. He's so incredibly entertaining in this movie. He was a personality that was just aching to get out and, you know, be in this movie and be this incredibly over-the-top nonsense villain that, you know, the father of the villain is, you know, called in when things get a little bit too difficult for them. He is the best thing in the entire movie. If they could have had him more, if he could have had more screen time, I would have been so happy with this thing. Conor McGregor needs to be in all the movies from now on. Make it happen, you cowards. So this movie has another problem which it cannot quite get over, and that is the following. They cannot decide whether or not this is a very dark, brooding crime drama, or if this is a kind of cheesy, kind of over-the-top nonsense type of an action movie like it was directed by Guy Ritchie. So they try to do the same thing at the same time. They cannot decide whether or not they should, you know, poke fun at the cliches or use the same cliches but also sort of not kind of use them. Commit to the thing. Either do one thing or do the other thing. Trying to, you know, appease both sides by kind of sort of doing both sides at the same time. It doesn't work. Also, the worst thing about the entire movie, the special effects. These special effects, sometimes they are about the simplest of sequences. I thought to myself, was that the best thing they could have done? These effects would have looked bad in 1995. And sweet Lord Jesus, what it looked like in today's movie environment. It looks shit. It's straight up shit. But it is an entertaining movie. A bit too long maybe, but Jake Gyllenhaal is still able to pull out a bunch of really entertaining sequences, and there are action sequences in this movie that is really entertaining, gives me exactly what I want. But then we also have a bunch of sequences that doesn't quite work and just drags on, even though we have a couple of fantastic fighting sequences. Especially the final fight is especially memorable. It is a brutal, big, epic conclusion to what is an arguably quite fun and rambunctious movie, but it sometimes go too much to the deep end and try to be a bit too serious for its own good, because we're a serious movie. You're a goofy 1980s movie shot today that is also trying to be a little bit serious sometimes. Fuck being serious. Do your thing and make it proper Roadhouse remake. But I will say that it is miles and miles and miles better than the horrendously awful sequel that came. When did it came? I can't remember the date it came, but it is a movie that you absolutely not need to see. It's a good movie, this movie. I would advise you to see it. But if you only want to see one Roadhouse movie, the original is superior to this movie, but this one was far better than I expected it to be. And if you have the chance, see them both and see which one is your favorite. My guess is most people would probably say that the original is the better ones, but this one was better than I expected. It has many things that works against it, and there is a fantastic movie here somewhere, but it cannot quite drag it out, but they almost did. Roadhouse 2024 gets 62 points. It is a good, entertaining movie that sometimes could have been a little bit less grim and depressing, and sometimes it could have been a little bit more fun and cheesy than what it is. And if I may say so myself, I think that the villains, while being kind of good and kind of entertaining, is quite inferior to the original one. This is one of these movies where the fact that this is a remake hurts the movie ever so slightly, but it is still a movie I think is better than reputation suggests. Do see it, but be cautious that it is not as good as the original. So which version of Roadhouse is your favorite? Comment below and I'll see you next time from so and so reviewing, well, such and such. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much.